Ukraine destroys Russian Buk-M3, Tor-M1, $170 million. Hit as Pokrovsk holds. Today, the war's outcome is being shaped less by declarations and more by who controls the unseen spaces, basements, forests, fog, and the low sky where drones hunt. Across several sectors, Ukraine holds key defensive ground, breaking infiltration attempts and turning Russian assaults into costly failures. Official reports and frontline footage reveal a clear pattern. Russia pushes with numbers and spectacle, while Ukraine answers with coordination, precision fire, and unmanned systems that steadily erode Moscow's strength, inflicting an estimated $170 million in destroyed air defenses, armored losses, and failed attacks. The sequence begins with the first official update of the day. At around 6:10 a.m., Ukraine's Commander-in-Chief, General Oleksandr Syrsky, released an operational update. The message was simple but significant. Pokrovsk is holding, Mirnohrad is not encircled, and a counter-sabotage operation is active in Kupiansk. Ukrainian units there are dismantling Russian diversion groups and tightening local security. Such actions matter, because no front line can hold if the rear is unstable. Saboteurs aim to sever logistics, jam communications, and create the kind of chaos that weakens organized defense. Later in the morning, reports from Pokrovsk described a city reduced to ruins, but still under firm Ukrainian control. Forces held nearly 13 square kilometers in the northern part of the city, enough to rotate units, evacuate wounded, and maintain supply routes. That figure might sound small, but it represents a functioning defense network within a devastated landscape. Despite continuous bombardment, Ukrainian artillery and infantry coordination have kept Russian troops from closing the ring around the city. Mirnohrad, too, remains outside encirclement, proof that Russian momentum in this area has stalled. Meanwhile, in the Alexandrivka direction, a smaller but telling encounter highlighted Ukraine's battlefield discipline. 2 Ukrainian soldiers from the 67th Brigade captured 6 Russian occupiers during a close-quarters operation. Though outnumbered, the Ukrainian pair used stealth and terrain to isolate the group and compel surrender. Beyond the immediate victory, the event had tactical intelligence value. Prisoners often reveal radio frequencies, routes, and assault plans. Minutes after the capture, Russian artillery shelled the same area, apparently attempting to kill their own men to prevent information leaks. The attempt failed, but revealed a grim truth. Russian command often treats its troops as expendable when control of the narrative is at stake. By late morning, fighting in Pokrovsk intensified. Russian troops have shifted tactics, quickly entrenching inside basements of shattered buildings and turning every ruin into a firing position. This transforms the battlefield into a network of hidden kill zones, rather than clear front lines. Ukrainian units counter this with layered observation. Recon drones mark positions, artillery isolates them, and small assault groups clear the rest. The 68th Separate Jaeger Brigade continues striking Russian troops during rotation and regrouping phases. Such timing is crucial. A unit is most vulnerable when moving or concentrating for attack. By targeting these moments, Ukraine breaks assaults before they form. In the Donetsk forests, Ukraine's 8th Special Operations Regiment executed a preemptive strike that neutralized a Russian reconnaissance and infiltration team. The enemy had tried to exploit poor visibility and terrain cover to reach the rear of Ukrainian lines, likely for intelligence and sabotage. But their movement was detected early. A short, coordinated engagement eliminated the group, preventing a larger breakthrough. This is how Ukraine's defense now operates, detecting small infiltration teams before they can enable mass attacks. Around midday came the day's most significant material blow. Ukraine's unmanned systems forces, particularly the 412th Brigade Nemesis and its Asgard Battalion, carried out a precision drone strike that destroyed 2 Tor-M1 and 1 Buk-M3 air defense systems. These systems are cornerstones of Russian battlefield protection. Tor units intercept short-range aerial threats, while the Buk-M3 provides long-range coverage for logistics hubs and command centers. Their destruction stripped Russian formations of local air protection and left rear areas exposed to further strikes. Analysts assess the loss at roughly $150 million. about $40 million for the two Tor-M1s and $110 million for the Buk-M3. The remaining $20 million in damage came from destroyed armored vehicles and failed assaults elsewhere, bringing total daily losses to $170 million. The strike demonstrated that Ukraine's lower-cost drones could neutralize assets intended to shield billions of dollars worth of equipment and infrastructure. In the early afternoon, Russian assault groups tried again, this time against Ukrainian Marines of the 503rd Separate Marine Battalion. Expecting to break through by mass and pressure, they instead met a disciplined defensive line. Ukrainian Marines opened with coordinated small arms fire and grenade launcher bursts, halting the attack at close range. The result was decisive. The assault was repelled, and the attacking group neutralized. Beyond the immediate casualties, the failed attempt cost Russia tempo and morale. Every time an assault collapses, reorganization delays the next push and strains logistics. As the day wore on, Russia attempted a propaganda stunt instead of a real attack. In the village of Opsky, a Russian serviceman infiltrated nearly 9 kilometers behind Ukrainian lines to film himself raising a flag for a staged video of victory. The operation never made it to camera. Ukrainian FPV drones detected and eliminated to the infiltrator during his withdrawal, turning what was meant as a morale boost into a cautionary tale about the reach of Ukrainian surveillance. Even symbolic missions now risk exposure and destruction before they can be broadcast. By late afternoon, the 67th Brigade's Iron Falcons released footage showing the destruction of a Russian armored column near Alesivka. The column was detected early and struck with drones as it maneuvered through open ground. Explosions ripped through the formation, turning vehicles into burning wreckage and forcing surviving units to abandon the area. Nearby, Polikivka remained under Ukrainian control, with observation drones monitoring further movement. Each destroyed column limits Russia's ability to regroup or reinforce, forcing reliance on night advances and scattered infantry assaults that are easier to intercept. As dusk settled, Ukraine's defensive rhythm remained steady. Across multiple sectors, reconnaissance drones spotted enemy concentrations, and strike teams engaged them before they reached Ukrainian positions. This pattern, detect, engage, neutralize, has become the foundation of modern defense. Ukrainian operators no longer wait for assaults to arrive, they break them while they are still forming. At around 9:35 p.m., another layer of this technological warfare unfolded. A Ukrainian ground combat drone from the 5th Assault Brigade intercepted a Russian MTLB armored vehicle preparing a nighttime assault. The unmanned droid platform, equipped with a 12.7 mm heavy machine gun, detected the MTLB through thermal sensors. When the target entered its fire sector, the operator opened short, controlled bursts that pierced the vehicle's side armor. The MTLB lost control, nearly colliding with the ground drone before being immobilized by follow-up shots to the rear. Inside, the assault team was eliminated. The event demonstrated how ground robotics, once experimental, is now halting real attacks in darkness. As night deepened, Ukraine's unmanned systems battalions continued their pattern of cooperation between reconnaissance and strike units. Surveillance drones mapped Russian movement corridors. Attack drones followed within minutes, delivering precise hits. This rapid cycle prevents the enemy from regrouping or massing forces for another wave. Each engagement might appear small, but together they deny Russia freedom of maneuver across an entire front. Meanwhile, Ukrainian anti-drone teams maintained constant vigilance. Using thermal imaging, radar, and optical tracking, they scanned the sky to detect enemy UAVs used for reconnaissance and artillery correction. Soldiers of the 12th Special Purpose Brigade, Azov, were noted for their consistency in neutralizing aerial threats before they could cause damage. In this phase of the war, such unseen work defines survival. Destroying drones before they can guide artillery saves lives and positions. Elsewhere, FPV pilots of the 63rd Mechanized Brigade operated in the Serebryanska forest area, executing precision strikes on Russian positions under difficult terrain and weather. Similar footage from the Pentagon Battalion of the 225th Assault Regiment in the Sumy region near Alexka showed Ukrainian units holding their lines against repeated mass assaults. Russian tactics there remain unchanged. sending waves of infantry without coordination, hoping quantity can offset accuracy. Yet Ukrainian defenders, relying on discipline and real-time drone coordination, continue to absorb the pressure and respond with measured precision. By midnight, the day's picture had settled. Pokrovsk still held. Mirnohrad remained free from encirclement. Kupiansk stayed secure after the neutralization of sabotage groups. Across the front, Russian infiltration attempts in forests and ruined towns were intercepted. Assaults by Marines and mechanized units were repelled. Propaganda operations collapsed under drone surveillance. Armored columns were destroyed before reaching their targets. And most critically, Ukraine's unmanned strike teams eliminated 2 Tor-M1 and 1 Buk-M3, inflicting direct damage valued at $170 million. The operational trend is clear. Ukraine is not only defending, it is systematically dismantling the mechanisms that allow Russia to wage this war. Each day of defense now doubles as a day of attrition for Moscow's most expensive assets. If these precise strikes, persistent surveillance networks, and disciplined counter-assaults continue at this pace, the question is no longer whether Ukraine can hold. It is how long Russia can sustain such losses before its offensive power collapses entirely. Thanks for watching, and subscribe for more updates.